We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated.
There comes a time where you just have to admit you were wrong. And that time has come for MAGA. It's time to admit they were wrong about Donald Trump, and it's time for them to admit the truth. Donald Trump's on the list. Alright, he's on the list. He's on the client list, the little black book of Jeffrey Epstein's. He's on it. You just need to come to terms with that, MAGA, and admit it. There is no way you're coming out of this as winners. And if he does ever get around to releasing the list, I doubt it, but if he does, it's going to be heavily redacted with pretty much every single word blacked out. There's a good video over on TikTok. A guy perfectly shows the deep connections that Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump had with one another, and it goes down pretty deep. So let's watch the clip quickly, and then we'll come back, and I got a few other things I want to add to it as well. Let's watch the clip.
Hey, do you remember when Trump bizarrely wished Ghislaine Maxwell well twice after she was arrested for child sex trafficking? Well, I want you to listen to his answer here, and I'm going to point out something else that I want to talk about.
I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
So not only is it beyond bizarre that Donald Trump would wish Ghislaine Maxwell well twice in this video, but it's also completely strange that he would pretend not to know that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein lived in Palm Beach at the same time he did. And it's just proof that whenever the subject of Epstein comes up, Donald Trump will lie every time. And for proof of that, I point to this New York Magazine article about Jeffrey Epstein that was published in October 2002, in which Donald Trump says this about Jeffrey Epstein. I've known Jeff for 15 years, terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It's even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life. So 15 years before 2002 is 1987. And if we start to put together a timeline, let's go to Mar-a-Lago's own website where it says in 1985, Donald J. Trump purchased the property. And as you can see from this story about Jeffrey Epstein's Palm Beach home being demolished, it says the property was located on 358 El Brillo Way and was purchased by Epstein in 1990. And if we just pop those two addresses into Google Maps, you can see that they are just 1.4 miles apart and can be driven to each other in 5 minutes. Seems like these two buddies wanted to live close to each other, huh? So Trump buys Mar-a-Lago in 1985, then 2 years later, Epstein and Trump become friends, and just 3 years after that, Epstein decides to buy a home walking distance to Mar-a-Lago. And that's probably why video like this surfaced of Trump partying at Mar-a-Lago with Jeffrey Epstein in 1992. And of course, that close friendship continued for years, as you can see by this party that happened at Mar-a-Lago in February of 2000. And who else was at that party besides Trump and Melania, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey Epstein? None other than disgraced royal Prince Andrew. But of course, Prince Andrew became disgraced because Epstein victim Virginia Giuffre claimed that he participated in Epstein's schemes. But Giuffre also said that she was recruited by Epstein when she was 15 and was coerced into sexual activity with him and associates in return for payments. But where did Epstein meet Giuffre? Well, as it turns out, the same year that this party took place at Mar-a-Lago, according to her deposition, Giuffre said she was working as a spa attendant at Mar-a-Lago in 2000 when she was approached by Epstein's longtime girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, about giving massages to the wealthy investor who owned a mansion in Palm Beach not far from the Trump resort. Yes, so not only were Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein friends for over 13 years at the time this photo was taken, they also lived within a 5-minute drive of each other, and Jeffrey Epstein was actually trafficking girls within Donald Trump's home and club. And I know that MAGA likes to tell the story that Donald Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago after he hit on a member's daughter, but there's a problem with that theory. And that's because the same book that reported that has a footnote in it that says the authors were shown Mar-a-Lago's registry from more than a decade earlier, and that Epstein in fact had been a member until October of 2007. And yet this article that was published September 3rd, 2006, more than a year earlier, talks about Jeffrey Epstein already being arrested and how he was receiving preferential treatment from the prosecutors in Florida. So I'm sorry, it's much more likely that Trump saw Epstein as a liability and kicked him out of his club because he'd already been arrested for sex crimes. So while Trump may try to play down the longtime friendship that he had with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, it just doesn't jive with the facts.
So, as you saw there from the great channel known as Debunction Junction, great video of him, full credit of it goes to him. There's a few things I want to add though, because he could have gone in further with some more connections, but then again his video would get too long. But I want to bring up a guy by the name of Alexander Acosta, who served as Trump's Secretary of Labor back in Trump's first term, but he was forced to resign due to his mishandling, I guess you could say, of getting Epstein let off the hook with a sweetheart deal back when Epstein was arrested back in 2007, 2008, I think, 2007 maybe. So Rene Alexander Acosta, a member of the Republican Party, he was appointed by George W. Bush and served as part of his administration in the National Labor Relations Board, and also as a U.S. Attorney to the Southern District of Florida. And it was during that time, and the U.S. Attorney for Southern District of Florida, that he got involved with Jeffrey Epstein case. In 2007-2008, as U.S. Attorney, Acosta approved a plea deal that allowed child trafficking ringleader Jeffrey Epstein to plead guilty to just only a single state charge of solicitation in exchange for a federal non-prosecution agreement. After Epstein's arrest in 2019 on sex trafficking charges, Acosta faced renewed and harsher criticism for his role in the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, as well as criticism and calls for his resignation as Secretary of Labor. He, of course, resigned later that year, or I should say later that month, on July 19th. So part of that agreement in the plea deal was to grant immunity from all federal criminal charges to Epstein, along with 4 named co-conspirators and any non-named potential co-conspirators. That agreement essentially shut down an ongoing FBI probe into whether there were more victims and other powerful people who took part in Epstein's sexual crimes. At that time, this halted the investigation and sealed the indictment. Gee, I wonder who one of those powerful people involved were. Gee, I wonder. This is all a strange coincidence. This sweetheart deal that Acosta struck with Epstein's lawyers was found to be a direct violation of the Crime Victims' Rights Act of 2004, which requires notifying victims of the progress of federal criminal cases. MAGA world has been trying to push this lie as of late that, well, if Trump was on the files, why didn't Biden release the list? Why didn't Obama release the list? Well, that's because the files were sealed away until a judge recently approved them, thereby averting any chance that the girls or anyone else might show up in court and try to derail these investigations. Again, it's very odd that the guy that gave Epstein a sweetheart deal was a wart and kept all this a secret from the public for many years, was given a position on his cabinet. Very, very strange, don't you think? So we've come to the point where you pretty much have to make a decision, MAGA, and just admit you were wrong about Donald Trump. He's on the list, and that fact ain't going away anytime soon. You saw the connections from Debunction Junction, you saw the stuff I added in here. He's on the list. And he's been giving people sweetheart deals where they just kick the can down the road so Trump can stay hidden and get away with raping little girls like he's always has. And right now, MAGA, from what I've seen, you went a certain direction, and it's not a good look right now.